A very warm welcome to a new episode of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. I'm Ritwika Gupta. Tonight, we'll be focusing on our month-long theme of travel and hospitality, and I'll be delving into two very interesting conversations. In the first segment, I'll be chatting with Sanjay Sethi, MD and CEO of Chalet Hotels, and in the second segment, I'll be speaking to Vishal Suri, Managing Director of SOTC. Listen in. Thank you so much, Mr. Sethi, for joining us today on Leaders of Tomorrow.
Pleasure, Ritwika. Pleasure being on the show.
So, this month we're focusing on the theme of tourism and hospitality, and I want to begin this interview by asking you, what's the kind of demand that you are seeing, across your properties? What can you tell us?
So look, the demand's been very robust. In fact, it's been robust and consistent. And I think the good part is that it's very sustainable also. We were worried that could be pent-up demand which could go away after a few months. That's not the case anymore. It's actually sustained demand and it's lasted for over a year now.
Okay.
And it looks to be consistent across all segments of business. So we're very excited about the situation. Demand strong, will likely to continue to stay strong for the next 4 to 5 years at least. Supply side is very weak. Great story for the existing hotels in the country.
All right. So, with the impact of inflation, do you think that will really impact the hotel industry, especially also the global, economic slowdown that people are talking about? How do you think this will impact your business and overall the industry?
So far, nothing. There's zero impact. In fact, the bookings that we're getting, the forward-looking business that we are looking at, look extremely positive. So I really don't think there's going to be any slowdown on account of this. You've got to understand the India story is very strong, and it's driven by the certain fundamentals that are driving the India story. For example, our consumption patterns are extremely high right now. We've got very strong export services business that is happening. Then third, the manufacturing is looking very strong. And basically the earning capacity of the middle class and the upper middle class and then the affluent class has increased tremendously, which is a great thing for hospitality.
Right. So, I also want to understand, because you're also operating in the luxury segment, I want to understand, when you try and attract a luxury consumer, how do you retain them? Because I think that not many people probably will be able to live up to that challenge. So what is your strategy and what is your advice for that?
Ritwika, it starts from a great product, right? Firstly, you got to get the location right because it's all about location. And once you got the location right, you got to make sure that the product itself is designed because you got to live with that product for the next 5-7 years from an interior design perspective and from the larger architecture perspective for 30-40 years. So you got to get that right. And once that's in place, that's the hardware in place. Then you got to get your teams right, training, and the experiential element of the stay for the guests has to be of very high quality. And they're getting more and more discerning. So therefore, it has to be the service that's going to drive retention of guests. Then again, the brand, the loyalty programs, all of that helps keep the guests in-house.
Sure, you spoke about experience. I'm actually keen to understand, what are you really doing to, enhance consumer experience? Because I think today, a consumer is not just looking to book a holiday or like, a air ticket or a hotel booking, but they want an experience, like you mentioned.
True.
What would you have to say about that?
It's 360 degrees, right? The experience comes out of the place that they're traveling to. It comes out of the hotel that they're at. So what you see here is a fabulous urban resort. We call it an urban resort because it's in the middle of the city. And it's really got a very resorty feel because of the lakefront, etc. That's very nicely done. So that's what creates the experience, the location and the design of the hotel. And then comes the experiential part, which is basically driven by every moment of truth for our guests in the hotel where they engage, interact with our employees. That F&B, spa has become a big experiential element in the guest stays now. So all these add to it. Entertainment, recreation facilities, all that's become a part and parcel of the offering now, irrespective of whether it's a business hotel or a leisure hotel.
Right. So I also want to talk about your recent acquisition of the Duke Resort in Khandala. So what can you tell us about that? What are your expectations, and is there going to be a rebranding of some sort?
So Duke's was a very small step in the overall stated strategy that we have. And the stated strategy says that we're going to be stepping into leisure. All our portfolio is luxury, business travel sort of portfolio. We're now looking at enhancing and diversifying into leisure for a bit. Though we do run the resort at Mud Island, which is operated by us, but this is our first investment in leisure with Duke's. And Duke's has an iconic stature in the Mumbai and Pune market for 40 years now. Also, it has expansion potential. So what we're looking at is basically renovating the product, expanding the product, and completely changing the guest experience in that resort, which is going to be more current with today's guest requirements, whether it is the people who have experienced this before, or people who are now the millennials and the Gen Zs who want to go and try out a really fabulous resort in drivable distance from Mumbai and Pune.
Nice. So you spoke about what the guest requires. I'm also keen to understand, post-pandemic, how do you think consumer behavior has changed? What are they looking out for, when they're booking a hotel?
So I think the consumers looking out for 2 or 3 things after pandemic. One, they want every travel of theirs to have an element of fun in it. It needs to have, so I feel that from the consumer's mind today, leisure and business travel has become very blurred, right? Even if they're traveling for business, they want to be able to enjoy the city, which does 2 or 3 things for us. One, it tells us that we've got to give the opportunity for a leisure experience within the business hotels also.
Okay.
So we need to enhance the product to meet that expectation, which we're doing in all our hotels. More importantly, what it is doing for us is the guest average stay per stay, average number of nights that they spend in the hotel per stay is going up. Because say someone is going to go to work on a Friday or a Monday over here, what they typically do is they come either a day earlier or stay on a day extra just to experience the city or the location for that period of time. So that improves the business for us also.
Nice. I also want to understand what role does technology and innovation play in the larger scheme of things as far as the hospitality industry is concerned?
Sure.
How has digitization impacted your business?
So Ritwika, it'll be a sad day if the next generation of travelers have to engage only with machines. So I don't see that happening, right? As far as hospitality and travel and tourism is concerned.
Of course.
They're there for experiences. They're there for experiences of locations, of hotels, resorts, and people there. However, technology has multiple uses in our business. One is convenience from a guest perspective. So we make it more convenient for the guest to check in. So today, a Marriott Bonvoy app, for example, you can check in on the app on your way from the airport to the hotel. You get a key on the phone. You don't go to the reception. You go straight to your room and keep the phone at the door, and it unlocks your door. And that app is then used for ordering in-room dining or asking a concierge questions or delivering something to the room. So these are all tech interfaces that will come in, but will they change the basic nature of hospitality? I don't think so.
Okay.
Where the tech will be used additionally will be the backend, making our systems and processes in the backend more efficient from a cost perspective, from employee work ergonomics perspective, a convenience to our employees and guest perspective.
So, the theme for our show this season is Ideas for New India. What would be your, 3-4 big ideas, that you think will really shape or, change the industry at large, in terms of emerging trends or something that you're excited about, what can you tell us?
I think at a strategic level, I see a lot more consolidation happening. So I see bigger investor community absorbing some of the standalone hotels. So we see larger companies being formed as a result of that. So that's one side of the strategic side. On a consumer or the guest side, I see leisure becoming a big thing.
Okay.
I see MICE growing in India very strong. I think the government of India's focus on tourism and inbound tourism for that matter is so strong that's bound to bring in not only individual travelers, but large groups to India also. Whether they come in for meetings and incentives or they come in for leisure groups, all of that is going to be part of it. So I think that's the other change that's going to happen. The play of MICE versus individual traveler, the ratios may change a little bit. The third thing that's going to happen is the length of stay is likely to increase. As I said, leisure will entice the aspiration for some leisure activity will entice even business travelers to spend an extra night at the location that they go to. So that's going to be the other one. And then, of course, we've got this whole switch that's happening from your consumer profile, right? The millennials and Gen Zs are quickly becoming the main target audience for us. Gen Z is already in that area. They're moving into senior or mid-management roles in companies now. Some of them, hitting top management in smaller companies. So they're becoming the main primary target audience. And this is for millennials, sorry. And for Gen Z, they're soon going to get there, which means we will have to align our products and services with the requirement of the millennials and Gen Z now, which is already happening for the millennials. I think Gen Z is the next step away.
Nice. Mr. Sethi, tell me, how do you think India's G20 presidency will impact the hospitality industry? Do you think there will be an increase in demand?
So, look, there are two elements, right? One, again, is the demand that will be created during this year with the G20 presidency, the events and all that's happening.
Yeah.
That's temporary, right? But I think from a long-term perspective, the focus on India and the leadership that the Indian government and the administration is showing is going to fundamentally change the way the West looks at India and thereby drive more business into India. So from both a general economic perspective as well as from hospitality perspective, I see a very positive long-term impact.
Right. So finally, tell us, what is the road ahead for Chalet Hotels?
So Chalet has been on a very high-paced growth path with very heavy investments for the last couple of years. And I think it will only get more intensified in the next couple of years or so. But a lot of the capex that we were putting in play in the last 2 or 3 years is now fructifying into operating assets.
Okay.
So what's going to, as a result, happen is the whole size of the P&L will change dramatically for us, and therefore the balance sheet. And the new assets that we are now looking at adding into the portfolio will take our company up significantly within the hospitality space. We're today the third largest listed hotel company in the country. My long-term vision or mid-term vision is to be at least number 2.
Wonderful. Well, all the very best. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you. It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. And right now I'll be in conversation with SOTC. Listen in. Thank you, Vishal, for joining us today on Leaders of Tomorrow.
Thank you, Ritwika. Thank you for having me over.
So I want to begin by asking you to share some of the big ideas or the emerging trends that you are seeing, taking shape in the travel and hospitality industry. What can you tell us?
A lot has been changing in the travel industry over a period of time. In any case, when people like me were growing up, we would typically take one holiday to a native place or to the grandparents' place.
Yeah.
Now, all of that has changed significantly over the last few years. Now people want to take multiple holidays, and they were taking pre-pandemic, let's say, people used to take one big holiday in a year, maybe combined with one short-haul holiday within the country and things like that. But post-pandemic, what has happened is obviously people were locked down for such a long time. They've realized, and there's a greater appreciation for how they want to fulfill their aspirations and their bucket list and things like that. So travel has completely changed now. There is a greater demand and the desire for travel to explore the world. So people are now taking one, let's say, a long haul or a longer duration holiday. They are also taking multiple shorter trips, which means 2 or 3 trips is now becoming kind of a norm. They're taking within the country or to a short haul destination like a Dubai or a Maldives, or for that matter, a Vietnam or a Thailand. So people are now wanting to get their experiences out of the way. So they have a checklist saying that this is what I need to do. There is a greater appreciation and empathy towards their own desires and needs, and people are becoming more conscious about it. This is what is happening post-pandemic. So, all of this is combined together with the desire to travel. I think there is a complete evolution in the buying behavior. Customers are feeling a lot more empowered. There is a use of technology that is happening. A lot of information and the pricing discovery, or for that matter, the experiences that they can have, be it the food experiences, be it the adventure, or what can they do in terms of sightseeing. So there is that desire to actually go out, travel, and behave like a local. So that's obviously allowing the customers, that's actually what is making the customers buying those kind of holidays. So there's a greater focus on what kind of an experiences that they would want to do. Now, if there are children in the family, they want to have experiences for the children, and obviously there are adults, the couple, they have a set of experience that they design for themselves. So it's a combination of things. When it comes to corporate travelers, if I'm a business traveler, I would love to extend my official trip. If it's a long haul destination, I want to extend my official trip, and what we call it in our industry, the B leisure segment. So people are extending their trips to explore the destinations. So normally business trips are to a specific destination or a city. They want to explore the surrounding areas. So that is what is happening on that side. MICE, on the incentive travel or the MICE travel or the meeting businesses as it is called, there is a lot of pent-up demand because there are unspent budgets. People have been performing, but obviously there were restrictions to travel. So there are greater budgets that are coming into place. So the group sizes are becoming a lot larger. They want to reward performers, people who have performed in difficult times actually, because the trading environment was very, very difficult. So people are doing that. So overall, there is a lot of change. There is a lot of focus on the experiences. There is a use of technology. So customers want to feel empowered. They want to do their own experience discovery. They want to co-create their experiences with companies like ours, and be it any segment, be it the incentive travel. So we're seeing an overall very, very strong desire to travel.
Nice. So I'm also keen to understand how SOTC is partnering with travel and hospitality partners to also enhance customer experience. What can you tell us about that?
See, our business is such that we have to work with the aviation partners, be it the airlines, or for that matter, the hospitality chains. But we were one of the first companies during the pandemic. And you must understand that a lot of our customers today are very aware, and we're talking about that is because they're seeing so much available, so much of information. There's a greater appreciation for things like safety, sustainability, sustainable travel, and things like that. So we were the first company during the pandemic to conceptualize an overarching safe travel program, which was called the Trav Shield, where we actually worked with the Marriott Safe Travel Program and the Accor Safe Program. So these were two of our hotel partners. We worked with a combination of airlines. And what we created was this whole program which guaranteed or gave the assurance to the customer that he will be safe if he were to travel with us, because we were taking care of all the necessary information in terms of the restrictions, in terms of the requirements, which is the testing requirements and things like that. We were partnering not only with the hospitality or the aviation partners, but also with the insurance company. We also tied up with, let's say, a fintech company, so that because there are a lot of the age of our customers are getting much younger people are traveling. So we were allowing them things like book now and pay later. So those easy EMI options. So we tied up with a fintech company. So we put the whole thing together as a part of this whole Trav Shield, which was a safe travel program. And this program was done in association with Apollo Clinics. So Apollo Clinics came in as a healthcare partner, the aviation companies, the hospitality companies, the insurance company, and the fintech company. So we created this as a program together. So that's what we did.
Nice. If you can also talk to us about the Green Carpet Initiative, and of course, if there are any other environmental initiatives that SOTC is taking up.
See, sustainability, customers now want sustainability. I think it's more the product owners who are taking steps towards being more sustainable. But as a travel arranger or as a tour operating company, we are taking all the steps that are required. We have an industry first again at this point in time, which is the Green Carpet Initiative. Green Carpet Initiatives now, SEBI has mandated the top 1,000 companies, which are listed companies by market capitalization, to start making a report, which is called the Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report, with the BRSR. Now, this is a reporting at this point in time, but SEBI has started to track that. So companies are now mandated, without an exception, to actually make a sustainability report of what is called their carbon emissions. So the first step is to actually start measuring this. Green Carpet, which is an initiative by SOTC, Thomas Cook, LTI Mindtree, and facilitated by Fairfax Digital Services. So 4 of us have come together and we have created this initiative where we give a tool to a corporate through which all their business travel, and I'm qualifying that by saying all their aviation travel or the airline travel on business work, we will be able to give them their carbon emission for each trip that they take, and they will be able to measure it, analyze it, and based on that, they can take decisions to actually see how they can reduce their carbon footprint.
Nice. Well, finally, before I let you go, tell me, what is your outlook on the travel and hospitality industry in India in the years to come?
I think this is a business which will continue to go because people during pandemic or post-pandemic, I think people have realized that it's very important to invest in experiences, invest in travel, and obviously travel gives you a perspective, and people appreciate that perspective. People are beginning to appreciate, and these are finer things in life, and people are beginning to value those. And it's not only about saving money and investing in stock markets or in fixed deposit. People want to invest in themselves, and travel is one good way of doing that.
Right.
So my sense is this industry will continue to grow on a double-digit basis, even if we see at this point in time there is enough and more coverage on very, very high airfares, very high hotel rates and stuff like that. But despite that, there is a very strong demand because the desire to travel, and when I say desire to travel, it's a sentiment. People feel the need to travel. Obviously, it expands their horizon. It gives them a perspective. It helps them create memories with their families. They spend time with their families. So this industry will continue to grow. The way I see it, we want SOTC to be one of the most loved brands in travel segment in the times to come here.
Well, wonderful. That was really insightful. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much for having me over.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. We hope you enjoyed the conversations. Thank you and goodbye.